All the expectations have led to this. The undefeated 3-0 Nebraska Cornhuskers enter this week with expectations sky high as they prepare to take on their biggest test of the year, none other than the number 21 ranked Michigan Wolverines. So in today's video, I'm going to give you a comprehensive and complete preview of this ball game. What does Michigan bring to the table? What are their massive strengths that we need to watch out for? What are their glaring weaknesses that we need to exploit? What are the 5 keys to the game in order for the Huskers to win and pull off this huge upset? And everything else you need to know. So really quick, this video is loaded with information. If you're excited about Saturday, I know I am, hit that like button. And also, if you're a diehard Nebraska fan and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? This is the only channel where you can get daily content talking your favorite team, talking Huskers. It's a no-brainer, takes 2 seconds. Join this family, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. It's very clear. The Huskers are a good team. There's a lot of optimism, a lot of expectations, a lot of Kool-Aid flowing. But are they a great team? The answer is no, because they haven't proven it yet. In order to be a great team, specifically in this conference, you've got to beat great teams. And luckily for the Huskers, they have a great opportunity this Saturday to finally get that nod. Now, there's a lot of storylines. Nebraska has not beat a ranked opponent in 10 years. They are on a 27-game losing streak, which is absolutely astronomical. It's finally time to get above the hump. It's finally time to change that, and it's finally time to prove to all of America that Nebraska football might be back, or at least competitive for the college football playoff. So let's start things off with the Michigan preview. What do they do well? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? And what are the 5 keys to the game in order for the Huskers to pull off this upset? We know that Michigan, they are entering this game still ranked number 21 in America, sitting at 2-1 on the year with 1 loss to Oklahoma in Norman. Credit to the Sooners. They are a very good football team, but that was a close game in Michigan. They have still proved why they are one of the best teams in the conference. Let's start off with their strengths, the things that Nebraska needs to watch out for. Number 1, this is very clear. If you've watched Michigan play this season, this is the first thing that will jump out at you. They have one of the best rushing attacks in the country, and it starts with this young man right here, Justice Hayes, transfer from Alabama. He averages over 120 rushing yards a game, 8 yards a carry. He's for real. He's somebody who's going to be in the NFL very soon. He is incredibly speedy, incredibly shifty. He can take any single ball to the house. But not only him, they have some other weapons in this running back core. They have Jordan Marshall. He's more of their short yardage back. He averages 5 yards a carry. They have a couple other guys underneath him who are more of their bruisers. So they not only have one productive running back, they have multiple. They can beat you in different aspects. And last but not least, to add insult to injury, they got a quarterback who can run as well. Bryce Underwood, their starter, and we'll get into him as this video progresses. He had 100 yards on the ground last week versus Central Michigan. So they have 2 very productive running backs, and they have a dual threat quarterback. And because of all that, they average 240 rushing yards a game. That's top 10 in the country. Non-negotiable. In order for the Huskers to win, they have to shut down Michigan's rushing offense. Their second strength that we need to watch out for, it's their run defense. On the other side of the football, they only give up 90 rushing yards a game, and it starts with their great defensive line, right? They have a lot of proactivity there, getting to the quarterback, plugging running lanes, a lot of guys who are going to be very high future NFL draft picks. And again, you go to their linebacker core, somebody we're very familiar with here, Ernest Hausman, former Cornhusker. He's been doing a great job. He is their tackling leader so far this season at 19. So again, they have a great defensive line, a great linebacker unit. They can stop the run. They can run the football. In order for them to beat Nebraska, one of their biggest keys to the game is to shut down Emmett Johnson and to shut down guys like Quinn, Ives, Mekhi, Nelson, Isaiah Mozee. So there's going to be a chance in this game where Nebraska, we're going to have to opt to our passing attack. We're going to have to get Dane involved very early on. Jacory, Barney. It's going to be a big game for an Isaiah Hunter. You're hoping that Dylan can kind of carry us through his arm, because there is a real possibility Michigan shuts down a rushing attack very early on. And then the third strength of this Michigan team, which is very evident, and it's been that way for some time, they have one of the best offensive lines in the country. Not only are they super talented, but they're super old, right? All of those guys were former big-time recruits, 4 stars, 5 stars. They got some transfers here and there. They're incredibly deep. You look at the statistics for Michigan's offensive line. They only give up 1 sack a game. They, once again, create some of the biggest holes in the rushing game. That's the reason why Justice Hayes averages as much as he does. That's the reason why Jordan Marshall is so successful. It's not only because those guys are incredibly electric, but it's because their offensive lines create holes as big as the Atlantic Ocean for them. So their offensive line is incredibly productive, right? They win football games the old school way, with power, with toughness, with determination. And the big thing for Nebraska, it's a huge test for our defensive line. Okay, we have not had a great defensive line within our first 3 weeks. Okay, they've gotten better, but they're not to the point where we need them to be. Okay, there's a real possibility where Michigan's offensive line has a field day against our D line. Okay, in order to win this ball game, it can't be that way. Who steps up? That's a huge question. We need to slow down this rushing attack, and we also need to get pressure about that offensive line for Michigan. Very productive. So those are the 3 strengths of Michigan. Now let's get to the 3 weaknesses, the things that in order for us to win, we need to exploit. Let's have a conversation about their 5-star true freshman quarterback, Bryce Underwood. He struggled to begin this season. I mean, you go down to the Oklahoma game, he threw 9 for 24. 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a completion percentage of around 37%. He was awful. And again, I want to start off by saying this. Bryce Underwood is a very talented quarterback, and you'll see that on Saturday. He has great arm strength, great build, great speed. He's dual threat. There's a reason why he was a 5-star. There's a reason why he was, to many, what consider a generational recruit. But at the exact same time, he's very young. He's 18 years old. It's going to take time. So while I believe that when it's all said and done for Bryce Underwood, he's going to be a great quarterback, he's not there yet. And when you watch him on film, he struggles with reading defenses. He struggles in the big moments. He struggles playing in a different crowd besides Michigan, right? When he was in Norman, he struggled with that atmosphere. So what do you think it's going to be like when he gets to Lincoln with 90,000 there screaming at him every single time he touches the football, right? He's going to have some trouble. And it also should be mentioned that Nebraska enters this game with the number 1 ranked secondary in the country. Bryce Underwood's gonna really have to develop very quickly in order to have success against Nebraska. But this is something that, he's incredibly talented, but the Huskers have to exploit him, get pressure on him, get him on the ground a couple times, and pick him off in order to get in his head. Second weakness of the Wolverines, I mean, you just got to go to this wide receiver core, and they got talent. It's the same deal with quarterback. They have talent everywhere on this team. That's Michigan for you. They always recruit a high level, but it's the productivity. Not incredibly productive for their wide receivers. So it's not really all Bryce Underwood's fault. You go to the number 1 wideout, it's Donovan McCulley. He's a big 6'5" guy, incredibly gifted, incredibly athletic, but he only has 150 receiving yards this year. You go to Martin Klein, he's a decent tight end. You go to a couple other guys there, whether it's a Samaj Morgan, he's pretty shifty. Channing Goodwin, another really tall target. So again, they got some size. They don't have a whole lot of speed, but overall, the receiver core is not incredibly productive. So once again, we're playing probably not the best quarterback in the world right now, not one of the best wide receiver cores right now, and we're bringing in one of the best secondaries. What do you think is going to happen? Yeah, the secondary should eat. The secondary should dominate. That should be a point of emphasis this weekend. And last but not least, their one probably biggest weakness that we need to exploit in order to win this ball game, they don't have their head coach on the sidelines. We know that Sharon Moore was suspended for week 3 and week 4. They have an interim, Biff Poggi, who is the former head coach at Charlotte. He will be taking over as their interim. So I'm just going to be very honest with you. Sharon Moore not being there doesn't impact a whole lot, right? It's not going to impact their success because really they won 63-3 last week versus Central Michigan. They were not struggling at all. That was their best game of the season without Sharon Moore. It's not really going to impact their play calling too much. Sharon Moore doesn't call plays to begin with, but the impact that it's going to have with him not being on the sideline is their in-game decision-making, their adjustments that they make at halftime from the 3rd to 4th quarter when they're in close ball games, and then once again, when this game probably goes down to the final 5 minutes, final 4 minutes, what are they going to do in order to get on top? Okay, Biff Poggi, when he was at Charlotte, he did not show the ability to win those close games. Sharon Moore has shown the ability to win close games, whether you go to Ohio State last year, Alabama in the bowl game. So if Nebraska wants to pull this out, Matt Rhule's got to outcoach this guy. And I think he has a huge advantage there. So those are the 3 strengths and weaknesses of this Michigan football team. Now let's get to the keys to the game. In order for Nebraska to pull off this huge upset, what do we need to do? Number 1, I mean, it's very evident. You got to shut down the rushing attack. And I'm not expecting them to completely shut it down. You're going up against a great running back core. You go up against, who in my opinion is one of the best running backs in America, and Justice Hayes, and a great offensive line. So they're not going to shut down completely. At least slow it down. At least force Bryce Underwood to throw the football a little bit. Because when we've played Michigan in the past, it's been very clear what their identity is going to be, right? They want to run it down your throat. Whether it was in 23, whether it was in 21 when they came to Lincoln, whether it was in 22 and we got blown out, we consistently have lost to Michigan. Okay, and they've always done it by running it down our throat. whether it was with Donovan Edwards, Blake Corum, you just go down the list. Okay, they're going to do that once again. Slow down the rushing attack. And I'm looking at you defensive line. You need to have a heck of a game in order to do it. Second key of the game. Nebraska not only has to win the battle of the turnovers, I want at least 2 takeaways. First things first, you need to have 0 turnovers yourself. I don't want to see Dylan Raiola throw a single ball in harm's way. You should not put the ball on the deck once. We've had the issue a little bit in the past and also this year. But on the other side, we got to have some interceptions. Bryce Underwood has struggled. He has thrown some balls in harm's way. Okay, you got to pick him off. Non-negotiable. And also, you got to start stripping out that football every single time. Every single time you bring Justice Hayes down, you're stripping at it, right? You're always trying to poke it free. We need to win the turnover battle, and you got to win it by 2. Not just 1, you got to win it by 2 because this game's going to get close, and in close moments, you got to have those turnovers. Number 3, Nebraska has to be efficient. I'm looking on third downs to have a conversion rate of 65%. That's lofty, that's high, but once again, especially in the Big Ten when you're playing these close battles, right? You got to be the more efficient team on offense, defense, and on special teams. And we've struggled on third downs. We've struggled in the red zone. So in order to stop that, you got to be more efficient. Okay, 65% on third downs. I also want us to go for it on fourth downs. I want us to be aggressive versus Michigan. Okay, field goals aren't going to do it. Okay, you got to be more aggressive. So let's say it's a 4th down and 4. And you're at the 20-yard line and you're maybe down 10 points. Go for it. Because in my opinion, I trust this offense than what I do the special teams. I trust Dana Holgerson more than I trust, our kicker. I just do. Okay, I need us to be more aggressive. Trust your quarterback. Trust your training. Go for it and have success on fourth downs. So at least 2 for 3 on fourth downs. But overall, just be more efficient on these late downs in general. Number 4, and this is something I don't think will happen. I'm going to be honest with you, but it's a key to the game either way. Nebraska has to get a pass rush. We have not established that within 3 weeks. Okay, 0 sacks versus Cincinnati, 2 versus Akron, 3 versus Houston Christian. So we're improving, right? But it's a little bit of a different beast when you play Michigan, when you play this offensive line. Okay, so I don't care what it takes. Dial up blitzes, blitz 5, blitz 6. Okay, if you do in fact only blitz 4, feel comfortable in getting pressure with this Amakola Williams and area. Okay, I need this interior step up. Riley Van Poppel got some pressure last week. That's cool. Do it again. What about Elijah Judy? What about Cam Lenhart? Can those guys get off the milk carton and actually make some plays? Because Bryce Underwood, it doesn't matter how good your secondary is. If he has all day in the pocket, somebody's going to get open eventually. He's going to pick you apart. Okay, if you want to get in that true freshman's head, you got to bring him down. It's the same way we beat Colorado. Okay, the reason we beat Colorado was not because of our offense. It wasn't because of our run stopping. It's because whenever Shedeur Sanders got the snap, he was under pressure in a split second. And he had to throw it away or throw a ball in harm's way. Okay. We have not done that so far this year. Get Bryce Underwood on the turf, and that's how you win. Last but not least, biggest key of the game in my eyes. Dylan Raiola needs to prove to everybody he's a top 10 quarterback. Okay, we've already established he's top 20. He's easily top 25. But in my mind, in order to give everybody the confidence that you are a top 10 guy, you've got to win a big game. He's not won a big game yet. You could say Colorado was a big game. Kinda, right? But we won that game because of the defense. He's not won a big game yet. This is his chance. This is his emergence. Okay, this is his breakout moment. And unlike any other position, quarterbacks have the opportunity to will you to a win. Okay, you might not play the best game. You might give up some rushing yards from time to time. You might give up some big plays. You might turn the ball over. But when you have an elite upper echelon quarterback with his arm talent alone, he can raise everybody else's play with his play. We have not had that in a long time, so we forget what it feels like. We forget what it feels like to have an elite quarterback where, we just won that football game because of him and him alone. Okay, that's what the best can do. Whether it's a Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, those type of guys in the NFL, they can do that. Okay, the Baker Mayfields can't really do that, right? The Jalen Hurts can't really do that, but it's the top guys. So my question to Dylan, will you emerge? Because you're top 20 right now. That's cool. But we didn't think we were getting a top 20 quarterback out of high school. We thought we were getting a top 10. We thought we were getting top 5. We thought we were getting a Heisman potentially. This is your chance. go out there and prove it to everybody. So, all right, guys, of course, I will save my prediction until Friday. What I think is going to happen, I'm going to think long and hard over this week. I'm going to watch a lot of Michigan film, a lot of Nebraska film, and I'm going to make my educated prediction for who ends up winning Nebraska or the number 21 ranked Michigan Wolverines. But I want to hear your score predictions. I want to hear your thoughts, your keys to the game. Let me know down below. Hey, if you made this far in the video, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe. As always, folks, go Big Red, go Met Rule, and I'll see you in the next one.